Welcome to episode 7 of the Unsafe Space. I'm Keith Redmond, former Fine Gael councillor in Fingal County Council. I'm joined by my beloved
Sarah Ryan.
And Sarah Ryan is?
Former Fianna Fáil councillor.
She keeps forgetting to say that, folks, doesn't she? She just
every week I say it
because you're prompted every week.
You're the one who should be embarrassed.
Today we are going to speak on the Unsafe Space about
the last week.
The end of the world. And the end of the world will be global warming, global hotness, climate change, whatever you want to call it. And the new vanguard of the movement, the Extinction Rebellion, who are going to take over the world before the world is over. We're going to speak about that. We're going to speak about Eamon Ryan's proposals that he announced during the week to save rural Ireland from global warming. We're going to talk about electric cars. We're going to talk about what you can do to save the world. We're going to talk about, does the world need saving? You know, all these different things. So first up, we're gonna have a chat about Extinction Rebellion. So Extinction Rebellion came to Dublin this week, and basically what it is, if you don't know, is just lots of people gathered together and shut down the city. So there are different Extinction Rebellion kind of chapters all over the world. All the major cities now have an Extinction Rebellion chapter, and Dublin has its own one now. Isn't that wonderful, folks? And so they're effectively kind of a civil disobedience group that block up roads, close down businesses they don't particularly like, glue themselves at the top of planes, which is a new one in an airport in the UK there recently. That was the other day.
After sniffing it, I'd imagine.
I don't know. He glued himself to the top of the plane. I don't know. And then there was this in Dublin this week. Some more Extinction Rebellion protesters glued themselves to the front of Red Flag, which is a kind of a PR company. And Red Flag do demonic work, working for like the dairy board and stuff like this, and working for people who sell meat. Disgraceful. So they glued themselves to the offices of Red Flag. And really, I suppose from my point of view, I just wonder, how passionate do you need to be
about not going to work?
About that you will glue
yourself to the
How do you get the day off work? Do you just call your boss and say, I'm gluing myself to the offices of Red Flag or to a plane or to, I can't come in today? Like, what are these people doing with their lives? I don't. Sarah, what do you feel about Extinction Rebellion?
So here's the thing, right? And this is going to be a bit of a kind of a roundabout thing, but bear with me. When people get old and they just start saying whatever they want. And like my favourite ad ever was that ad. I know it's like for Bisto or something, when he's like, the whole family are sitting around the table and the young boys like, Dad, pass me the gravy. And then the granny's sitting there and she's like, he's not your dad. We never knew who your dad was. Like, that's my favourite ad ever. And it just perfectly epitomises that. I just love the way sometimes old people just say whatever they want or whatever. So I've decided to be old now. Yeah. Because I am just sick and tired of this shit, right? I'm sick of half of Ireland, especially after this podcast. Oh, you said that, that's what I really think. That's what I really think. I wouldn't say this, whatever. And they never say anything. So I'm just decided that I'm going to be old now, from now on, and I'm just going to say what I think. Bunch of crusties who don't want to go to work, causing havoc and generally making a scene of themselves for no apparent reason. Some guy with long dreadlocks with no top on doing some kind of dance. Get a grip. Yeah. Like, honestly, none of this is real. Like, as in, they don't care about any of this. I don't believe them that they care. Well, see,
that was actually going to be where I was going with this. I mean, do you think this is just a convenient topic for these people to look relevant?
Do you remember when you were in school, right? And there'd be like an assembly about like something, and you'd be like, oh yeah, no, I really care. Like, it'd be like Amnesty International or something are coming into the school today to talk about the problem in Sudan. You'd be like, well, I haven't done my maths homework, so I'm really passionate about that. Miss, yeah. Can I go to that? Can I not? No. I've been watching that on the news. I really care about that. That's this.
Can you imagine the middle class?
Oh my God, what, there's some sort of anarchy. Let's all go and take our tops off and do a dance. Like,
but can you
glue
imagine
yourself to the top of a plane. The collective petrol that was used for the ambulances and the glue person and the security that all drove to get you off the top of that thing is more of the electricity that had to be put to tell that story. You're an absolute lunatic. They don't care about this issue. What's happened is that there's a mass hysteria has broken out. Like, about loads of things, but this is one of them, where crazy people are getting attention that they so desperately crave by pretending to be freaking out about something. I saw an op-ed in the New York Times a few weeks ago about a woman saying that people should stop having children.
Yeah.
Like, in 10 years from now, there's going to be a lot of 45-year-old women really pissed off that it's not a barren wasteland outside their window and the world hasn't ended and they had no children because of it.
Oh, I think, including that poor girl, Greta Thunberg or whatever, I think that there's an awful lot of people in 10, 15 years who are going to feel incredibly aggrieved that they were hoodwinked. You know, there's a mass hysteria, as you say, which is broken out about global warming and it's the end of the world.
And it's a way as well. It's a great way to show how woke you are.
Yeah, it's all about the woke.
Like Fatboy Slim mocked up Greta Thunberg's speech with "right here, right now" playing, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" All self-flagellating and feeding off each other's wokeness, like passionately jumping to the beat of the music. Oh my god!
But like if I look
please.
at the Extinction Rebellion people in Dublin, all I saw were the children of middle-class people who have dropped out, tuned in, dropped out, whatever, of society, of life, have decided not to exert themselves, not to go to work, not to do anything particularly toward a career, grow some dreadlocks, put on some tattoos, smoke some weed, and now they've got a cause. And now, as you say, they're looking for attention. They're looking for attention from their middle-class parents who are completely aghast at their lives. And they're saying, well, now can you see the worth of my life? I'm saving the world. Meanwhile, they all have to do some kind of like artistic dance performance. They all presumably have, at least a certificate in interpretive dance. And so they all get down on the ground.
Last podcast, like that now they can actually demonstrate the use of the Hegelian dialect in their through interpretive dance.
There you go. This kind of grievance studies, sociology, Maynooth University hoopla. And now they all have a platform that's been given to them by the international community. But like, if you were to shut down a city, you have the responsibility for all of the ramifications that fall to you. But of course, you're not really big into responsibility if you're in the Extinction Rebellion because you've never taken any responsibility for anything in your life.
But what I also see is a lot of demonstrations and whatever, and not a lot of actual tangible, like, it's great to go in and have an old army kind of satchel that you've spent 7 hours sticking loads of individual little badges to, and well done and fair play to you, and drew on it with biro and did a peace sign. But actually, what about planting some food that you're going to eat yourself? Like, what about that kind of thing? Like, I'm totally on board that climate is changing and that we need to be more efficient and that we need to waste less and we need to make changes in our lives or whatever. But I'm not going to be lectured to by somebody who is gluing themselves to an aeroplane, because
it's attention seeking. That's all it is.
It's attention seeking, and it's not. It's not even that I don't think it works. I don't believe that person really cares about what they're pretending to.
But also, do you think that the people who are going to get onto that plane, they kind of went, well, actually, do you know what? I'm really glad that they did that because it's made me pause to reflect that I really shouldn't be getting on planes and I'm just going to go home now. Or do you think that they went, this absolute crusty lunatic is now holding me up and trying to get to where I want to go, and I'm outraged and I hate them more, not less. So I think it's more that. So I think it's completely counterproductive even to their so-called cause, which I agree with you. I don't think actually they have a cause. I think it's just attention seeking.
Well, speaking of crusty lunatics, Eamon Ryan this week was on Virgin Media, and he said that in his view the plan should be that towns will share, what was it?
30 cars for 300 people. Rural towns and villages. So,
and that you would cycle from your house.
There would be a central compound.
You would cycle from your house to like this compound where you would get a car and then drive it to work or just to do your jobs. Like, pause for a moment while I list off the things that when I go and do a food shop or whatever, a list of the things that I need to bring. 1 buggy, double buggy, 2 children, 2 car seats, my bag, their bag, spare clothes bag, food, bottles. Like, is that supposed to go on the back of a bike? And the thing is that, like, when we discussed this the other day, like, you would never vote Green Party and you're like, not even in a million years, you wouldn't even give them a preference, blah, 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 blah. I probably would, like, down.
They're communists, Sarah. They're communists.
No, but like, I like vegetables and stuff. My dad had
they're vegetables.
My dad had a vegetable shop. No, I mean, I think that, like, the thing is that you're always, like, you see, what I think is a little bit of a double standard on your part there is that you're always whining about how not enough politicians have an ideology, and they have ideology.
No, they do.
They have ideology coming out their hemp whatever.
And they're way too much ideology.
So much ideology, more ideology than you could ever dream of. And so I respect an ideology, and I respect somebody who has principles and who says unpopular things even when it pisses people off. But I'm not sharing a car with other people. It's not a realistic.
I think
it's not a realistic thing, because do you know what that would do? It would just be so unbelievably isolating.
But the thing about it is that all of their proposals, this is why I say they're communists or whatever, but like all of their proposals are coercive. So they don't believe in bringing people along with them. They believe in mandating, and this is now the way you live, and we will decide how you live. And it's about coercion and mandating. And
but do you not think that people? But do you not think that people?
They really do believe that.
Do you not think that people do need to change their behaviours?
I don't know. Look, I think there's many different ways of changing people's behaviours that aren't literally authoritarian coercion. I mean, you can make things. Like, for example, you're going to get an electric car in the new year, okay? Woo-hoo. And that you were enticed to do that by the fact that there were grants being given to buy an electric car, and on the other side of that, it was getting more and more expensive to run a diesel car, and it just suits your life. I mean, the electric car you're getting, I believe it does 400 and something kilometers in a single charge and all the rest of it. But the point I'm trying to get is,
and then also anybody who has kids will understand that I need a new car because there's a weird smell on the back. 2 kids, God only knows what it is. I'm afraid to go back there.
It's called sour milk. 2 years of sour milk.
I'm afraid to look back there. Let's just get a new car.
But that's the kind of change that individuals will and can and should maybe even make, right? But they're making it on the basis of choices that they're making, having looked at the pros and cons. And okay, the state can incentivize you to do that by giving you grants. There's half the cost for tolls. There's
but I'm a prime example of that, because my dream car is like Canyonero from The Simpsons. Like I'm getting the electric car because it's, as you say, because it's incentivized. But if those incentives weren't there, I would be getting a Canyonero.
I'd be buying a nuclear powered rocket ship, absolutely.
Like some kind of giant thing that just like drives over a Mini Cooper. Like if
it was really
a
noisy, I'd
bump.
appreciate that because people would know I'm coming. I mean, I agree with you, but no. So, but you can incentivize people to make changes. You can disincentivize, wrong choices, if you want to put it that way. I mean, let's face it, they changed the motor tax regulations a few years ago. And overnight, all the petrol cars that were over kind of 2 litre just disappeared because people just went, I'm not spending $2,000 on a motor tax every year. And everybody bought diesel because the government wants us to buy diesel. They subsequently found out that they kind of made a bit of an error on that one, and diesel was even worse. So now they're backtracking. It's
almost
as
if you make sweeping decisions on the economy, it can have knock-on effects that you didn't
unintended
understand.
Consequences. Yeah, it's almost like they don't have maximum wisdom, isn't it? I think that we can get into, and I think maybe we even should actually discuss how environmentally friendly electric cars are, when you consider that the electric cars, the batteries for electric cars, all the elements that make that up are all dug out of mines in Africa, and the very environmentally. Oh yeah,
I thought it was powered by your own sense of wokeness.
Oh yeah, it's powered by fluff, and yeah, absolutely. No, but the actual battery is made up of elements that are dug out of mines and blown up out of dynamiting mountains and all sorts of child labour.
Is their childhood
all
ruined?
the good stuff. All the good stuff.
Is their childhood ruined?
Yeah. Oh yeah. God.
Stolen.
But you have a wonderful sense of self, because you get to buy an electric car. Plus, the electricity, of course, that is probably generated by burning loads of fossil fuel. So although you're not burning the fossil fuel in the machine you're in, another machine burns it and then sends you the electricity. So
it's a bit like diet yogurts. Instead of having one full fat yogurt that's delicious, you have 4 diet ones, which are much more fattening, not as enjoyable. But you feel good because you had a diet yogurt.
Look, this is all about feeling good. This whole thing's about feeling good.
But that's why it's
But I would encourage people to get on the all electric car thing quickly, because they're going to start pulling back all of these incentives. The incentives are actually really, really good. Effectively, what they did was yourself, we have this horrific thing called vehicle registration tax, VRT, here in Ireland, which adds about a quarter to the cost of a car in comparison with other European countries. Right, this massive tax brings in, I think, $1.5 billion a year for the government. But it's what they did was it's so typical of what a state will do, a government will do. So they charge the VRT on the electric car. So let's say it's like 10 grand of the 40 grand for the car is VRT. And then we said, well, we're going to give you a discount. We're going to give you 5 grand off the VRT. So they've taxed you, and now they're giving you a discount. So we're really, really generous because we're giving you 5 grand. Well, no, you're taking 10. Oh yeah, but we're giving you 5. And then they're also going to give you another thing, a grant, an SEAI grant, and that's another like 3 or 4 or whatever. So they nearly obliterate the VRT that they've charged you on the car. So instead of just saying, look, we're not going to charge VRT, they make a big hullabaloo about giving you grants and giving you all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of, they take very stealthily and then give back flamboyantly. This is the classic of a state. But the point is that, in fairness, if you compare it to a diesel or a petrol car, it is it's a good deal. So it's too good of a deal, and the mandarins in the Department of Finance produced a report and said, if this actually takes off and we hit the target, we get 1 million cars on the road in the next 20 years, our budget is going to be decimated because we're going to wipe out all our VRT receipts. So they're already beginning to pull back on it now. I noticed in the budget that the companies who are going to buy electric cars now, they're losing their SEI grants, and that'll be gone by the end of the year. But they're going to start pulling back on the benefit in kind stuff. They're going to start. So if you're out there and you're thinking you're going to get an electric car, I would get one in the next 12 months, because I think this is all going to be gone in the next 12 months. But on the Eamon Ryan proposal, I noticed he's quickly backtracked on that. I mean, he realised.
I thought the Green Party came out and tweeted and said he was being misrepresented, but I don't know how you can be misrepresented in a video of you saying a thing.
Yeah, no, he misrepresented in that he doesn't want people who would have given him a preference to.
Well, that's
hear
the point.
that.
Is that what happened is that he's misrepresented in the sense that people like me, who may have given the Greens a preference down the line, are now suddenly going, absolutely under no circumstances, you're completely losing the plot.
Well, especially rural communities, and you would have thought rural communities would be more in tune with the environmental message, and yet. He seemed to be almost deliberately trying to undermine his own argument. Imagine going into a small Irish village or town and saying, well, there's 300 to 500 people here, so we're restricting you to 30 to 50 cars. You're all going to share them, and it's all going to be wonderful. Like, that's insanity.
And it's grand if you live in Dublin.
Yeah, well, you've got the lifts, you've got the dart, you've got the buses.
And you can cycle.
Yeah.
His constituency is Dublin South East, where I used to live. Like, I mean, you can walk to town in 10 minutes. Like, do you know what I mean? You can cycle anywhere. Great. But also, even if I lived down there, and some of my friends obviously still do, it's not as simple as that. If you've got 2 or 3 kids, like, one of my friends is expecting twins, so in the next 3 weeks she's going to have 3 kids under 2. She's supposed to put them all on a bike. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, no, they would. I mean, I've seen loonies with bicycles, and they've got 2 and 3 kids on the back of the bike or in some little cart that they're dragging behind them, and with their dog on a rope. Like, there is definitely a level of eccentricity, let's put it that way, a level of eccentricity that has always existed, that is now becoming a mainstream political kind of policy, not only in the Green Party, but also, in the new woke Fine Gael, in the new woke Fianna Fáil, they're Timmy Dooley and Fianna Fáil, and all these guys are coming out saying, we're, like, for example, Micheál Martin is now walking to reduce his carbon footprint and all this kind of...
From Cork?
Like, come on, folks. This is absolute horseradish. I mean, really. I mean, you've got to just get real about this. If you want to make a genuine change, if you really do think that, we're polluting the planet, and we are, if you kind of say, well, if we want to make some changes in my own personal life, which are going to make me kind of feel as though I'm part of the problem rather than the solution, or part of the solution rather than the problem, do it. Fine, absolutely do it. But, like, get realistic about it. Extinction Rebellion closing down a city, restricting cars in rural villages and towns.
Even close down the city. I just saw some dancing.
Fantasy nonsense. Yeah, it's crap. Right, is the bottom line. So you've got to, if you want to do it, be sensible about it, and people start putting out some sensible policies. I mean, the global warming thing, which is what it's all about, has been, I think, completely misrepresented. I mean, you have that Greta Thunberg girl going around telling the world, and telling children more importantly, that the world's going to end in 11 years. And, like, children are incredibly sensitive to these kind of things. That girl is crying on the TV, says she's going to die in 11 years. We're all going to die. There's going to be Extinction Rebellion said there's 1.5 billion people are going to die in the next 11 years on the planet. That is bullshit. I mean, the UN International Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, the guys who are actually the scientists, this so-called 97% consensus, the scientists behind it all, none of them mention this 11 years stuff. Nobody is suggesting that the world is going to end, or 1.5 billion people are going to die in the next 11 years. And yet these guys have run with an absolute fantasy and are now putting it mainstream. She's going to the UN and speaking and telling them all that, how dare you, and you're a disgrace. I have a huge sympathy for her. I think she's been completely misled, and I think she's going to be one of these people in 10, 15 years who's incredibly outraged at how badly she was used. But also, it's just factually untrue. It's just completely untrue. Even if you believe in global warming and the whole thing, this bit is completely untrue.
But this is another example of feelings over facts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter about facts. Nobody wants to hear about that, Keith. This is like, please let me tell you how I feel with this dance.
I mean, like I think that on the global
but like,
warming
grow
thing,
your own food.
Yeah.
Get an electric car. Use a reusable cup, like coffee
Recycle
cups,
more, yeah.
Coffee cups and all that stuff. A lot of waste. Don't buy like a bottle of water every day or whatever. Get a water container and use it. Great.
Cut down on the plastic.
All these
Brilliant.
things are really, really good. Use your car less. Like, you know, walk more. All good things. Don't buy Christmas crackers. Use recycle, you know, whatever. But like, cook your own food. Don't like
learn to
waste
cook
food.
again.
Grow like we've done really well out of ground food in our garden. Like, I didn't do it this year, but last year we had all kinds of good.
Yeah. And folks, by the way, it's not because we're absolutely wonderful at farming. I mean, really.
Sorry, you didn't do anything, and I am.
Hold on, I'd like to say we.
I'd
I'd like to say we in this. I'd like to include
all
we.
All you did was eat it.
No, not now. I also supported you. Oh
my God.
I also said, Sarah, that's a very good idea, and I went down and said that looks lovely. So I did support you.
Actually, I definitely think there was a scene where I was on my hands and knees with my hands in the dirt, pregnant, and you were looking at like some kind of like 1930s farmer being like, yeah, and hang some clothes on the line too. No, you did nothing to help. I did it. My dad is a horticulturist, so I know a little something
That's
about
right.
growing my own food.
Only I was got a degree in horticulture.
But the point is, all those things are good. You know, great, happy days. Be more, you know, be less wasteful. Eat, cook your own food. Eat less meat. Like, you know, meat-free Mondays and all those things. Cut down on your carbon footprint. Great. But whipping people up into a frenzy and having this like national absolute hysteria and terror and scaring children, and then demonstrating how strongly you feel about that with a topless dance in the city centre, I'm just not buying it.
And also, when you're talking about scaring children and stuff, this idea of the school strike and a load of teachers getting involved and politicising children and taking them out of school and marching them into town and all this. How dare they? I mean, who the hell do they think they are? You know, politicising children, first of all, but second of all, taking a day off school so that you can march into town. Like, what's, you know, come on, folks. There's nothing to, if you want to do it as an adult, yeah, great. But I mean, teachers should not be getting involved in political campaigns and using their students as weapons in that campaign.
Well, but because their point was that these children have no future if you don't stop using so much plastic.
Because they'll all be dead in 11 years. I mean, I hope there are no science teachers involved in that.
Well, I mean, you know what, right? If there's somebody out there who genuinely is going to start texting and sending us whatever, and saying that the world is going to end in 11 years, whatever, I'll put your money where your mouth is. Cancel your pension. You know, get a few credit cards.
Pension? You didn't say have pensions.
Spend them all.
They don't have jobs. What do you mean how do you have a pension?
Some people who believe in climate change have jobs, Keith.
Well, not the Extinction Rebellion. They don't even believe in an antiperspirant.
Charming. Luckily, TVs aren't scratch and sniff yet, so we can't confirm any of that yet. No, but if you really believe the world is ending in a few years, well then, why are you working?
Why are you even leaving your kids in school? Why don't you just bring them all home?
School? Like, if there's literally only 10 years, like roughly 10 years left, well then, like, you and I have been together for 6 years. That feels like 40.
It definitely feels longer than
like
6.
So 10 years is really quite a short period of time. Yeah. So, like, why are any of us doing anything? We should just all...
I think you should just take a really, really big loan out, right?
Let's
and
segue
run off with the money.
Yeah.
And then it'll take them 10 years to find you.
Let's segue this nicely into your drugs lunacy. Let's all just take heroin. Because, you know, world's ending anyway.
Look, first of all, let's not get back into the fact that you were wrong on the drugs thing, right? Second of all, I would not encourage anybody to take a drug simply because they feel the world's going to end, because that just, again, feeds into this hysteria. You may as well kill yourself because the world's going to end.
Obviously, I wasn't suggesting it. Are you doing like a kind of a disclaimer there?
I just think that you need to be very careful with the words. Words hurt. Words are violence, Sarah, and you need to be careful with your words.
God. Get a grip.
Words are violence. I love that. It's so fabulous. Sticks and stones will break my bones.
Gluing yourself to the steps of Red Flag is my favorite. Is my favorite scene of the last 5 years.
I love the. First of all, I know the managing director of Red Flag, Carl Brophy. He's a great guy, and I love that he sent out this kind of tweet. He puts a photograph of them all stuck to his offices and said, "Oh, great! Looks like I get a day off." And then brought all his staff to FX Buckley's for steaks. I think that's fantastic.
What a ledge.
You know.
So when you glue yourself to the stone, is it your clothes that are glued to it? It's obviously not your bare skin.
I think you just leave them there. I mean, why would you even call the ambulance? Just leave them there. They'll eventually get fairly cold.
Why would you need an ambulance? Like, would you not just take your trousers off and leave, and then there's just a pair of jeans there?
I don't know. Do they wear trousers?
I don't know, but like, is there some kind of reason behind the gluing?
Well, see, maybe the glue. See, maybe you need glue to get hemp to stick to concrete. You know, I don't know. The trousers all made of hemp, presumably, are they?
I don't know, but but I'm legit like confused. Like, is the glue like we're not leaving until the world is better, like until climate change ends, or like is there a time frame given?
Drawing attention to the evil corporate structure behind global warming. You see?
But
can you see that now?
But like,
and now it's fixed.
But why?
There's no why. Don't be looking for logic in a crazy action. There's no why.
No, but like, not to be like,
this is civil disobedience.
Not to go back to too many hobby horses or whatever, but like, I just think about the person, right? Like the people that I'm friends with or whatever, who bust their ass and pay 52% tax and, really work hard and move on with their parents and live with their parents for a year and a half to save up for a deposit or whatever. Put their kids into crashes that are €1,200 a month or whatever, and are like running past the Red Flag office on their way home to swing by the Montessori to collect their kids.
And these guys are blocking the roads.
And this guy is sitting there with his jocks super glued to the, like,
you just know.
There's just something about it that's like.
Well, you know what he's trying to do?
Like,
he's trying to piss off the people that he went to school with. That, like, they ended up doing the right thing, doing a job, getting ahead in life. He dropped out, and now he's just pissed off at them. And he's pissed off at his parents, and his middle-class parents are looking at him going, "You're such a loser." And so he's trying to just justify his life choices. It's... There is no why. This is a mass hysteria fed by individual senses of inadequacy, where they feel as though they have to be part of a collective movement to try and
to matter. Exactly.
They have a serious lack. They have a lack, and they're trying to fill the hole. That's basically what's going on.
That's sad.
It is sad, but it's also a pain in the arse trying to get around the city with them all displaying their sadness everywhere. You know. So anyway, folks, that's our take on global warming, on the Extinction Rebellion, on electric cars, and Eamon Ryan's proposals for changing the world. Do tell us what you think. #Unsafe Space on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you, and lovers and haters.
No, you can have the haters. I don't.
I love the haters. I love the haters. But if you do contact us on Twitter, and let us know. And if you have any ideas for future topics, do let us know as well. We'd love to discuss all the things that annoy you. So that's us for this week on the Unsafe Space. I've been Keith Redmond.
I've been Sarah Ryan.
And we'll see you next week.